The 9/11 conspiracy theory claims that the terrorist attacks carried out on September 11, 2001 were either intentionally planned by the United States government or knowingly allowed to happen. According to this perspective, the attacks were used as a justification for military actions abroad and the expansion of domestic security policies. In contrast, the official explanation states that the attacks were executed by the Islamic extremist organization Al-Qaeda, led by Osama bin Laden. However, many conspiracy theorists believe that the official narrative hides a much more complicated and sinister reality. These theories present several alternative explanations, with some suggesting that elements within the U.S. government, particularly members of the Bush administration, were involved in a false flag operation designed to generate public support for wars in the Middle East, especially in Afghanistan and Iraq. Others argue that intelligence agencies such as the CIA had prior knowledge of the attacks and either failed to intervene or deliberately ignored clear warning signs. A major focus of the conspiracy theories centers on the collapse of the Twin Towers as well as the nearby World Trade Center Building 7. Proponents argue that the buildings fell due to controlled demolitions rather than damage from the plane impacts or the fires that followed. Supporters of these claims often cite architects, engineers, and demolition specialists as evidence for their arguments. Additionally, some theorists believe that the Pentagon was not struck by a commercial airplane but instead by a missile, claiming that key evidence, such as surveillance footage, was deliberately withheld from the public. The 9/11 conspiracy theories began to gain traction soon after the attacks, fueled by skepticism toward the official 9/11 Commission report and the rapid spread of alternative narratives through the Internet. Films like Loose Change and websites such as 911 Truth played a significant role in popularizing these ideas. Despite numerous investigations that have thoroughly debunked these claims, the theories continue to appeal to a segment of the population, often driven by a broader distrust of government institutions, mainstream media, and official explanations. The moon landing conspiracy theory centers on the claim that NASA faked the Apollo moon landings, particularly the historic 1969 mission. According to believers of this theory, the United States government staged the moon landing to win the space race against the Soviet Union, boost national morale, and demonstrate technological superiority during the Cold War. They argue that the landings, especially the Apollo 11 mission, during which Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to walk on the moon, were actually filmed on Earth, possibly on a soundstage or in a controlled studio environment. This conspiracy theory began circulating in the early 1970s, shortly after the Apollo 11 mission. It gained wider attention in 1974 with the publication of a book by Bill Kaysing titled We Never Went to the Moon, America's $30 billion Swindle, which is often credited with popularizing the idea. Kaysing, a former employee of a company that contracted with NASA, claimed to possess insider knowledge and pointed to what he described as inconsistencies in moon landing footage and photographs. He argued that the United States did not possess the necessary technology at the time to safely land humans on the moon and return them to Earth, and he used these claims to support the idea of a moon landing hoax. Supporters of the conspiracy theory often cite perceived anomalies in the photographs and video recordings, such as the absence of visible stars in the lunar sky, unusual shadow patterns, and the appearance of the American flag seemingly waving despite the moon's airless environment. They also question why no crewed moon missions have taken place since Apollo 17. Over the decades, the theory has continued to gain traction through documentaries, books, and later the widespread reach of the Internet. It reflects a broader skepticism toward government institutions and authority figures. Despite extensive evidence disproving the theory, including moon rock samples, telemetry data, and first-hand testimonies from astronauts, the moon landing conspiracy theory remains influential among those inclined to distrust official accounts. The flat Earth conspiracy theory is based on the belief that the Earth is not a globe, as accepted by modern science, but is instead flat. Supporters of this theory argue that governments, space agencies, and scientists have been deliberately lying about the true shape of the Earth as part of a massive global conspiracy. According to believers, this deception may be carried out for financial benefits or to maintain control over the general population. Followers of the theory claim that the Earth is shaped like a flat disk, with the North Pole located at the center and Antarctica forming a massive ice wall around the edges. This ice wall is believed to prevent people from falling off the Earth. Although the concept of a flat Earth can be traced back to ancient civilizations, it was later disproven through scientific discoveries. Early thinkers such as the Greek philosopher Pythagoras, followed by astronomers like Copernicus and Galileo, provided evidence supporting a spherical Earth. Despite this, the modern flat Earth theory re-emerged in the mid-20th century. One of the most influential contributions was Samuel Rowbotham's book Zetetic Astronomy, Earth Not a Globe, which helped establish the foundation for modern flat Earth beliefs. The theory gained even more attention in the early 2000s with the rise of the Internet, where online communities, conventions, and organizations such as the Flat Earth Society played a significant role in spreading these ideas. Supporters of the Flat Earth theory often point to what they consider inconsistencies in photographs of Earth taken from space, unusual airplane flight paths, and what they believe are flawed scientific explanations regarding gravity and the horizon. However, despite these claims, there is overwhelming evidence proving that the Earth is round. This evidence includes satellite imagery, GPS technology, and centuries of scientific research that consistently support the globe model of the Earth. The JFK assassination conspiracy theory centers on the belief that President John F. Kennedy's assassination on November 22, 1963, was not carried out by a lone gunman, but was instead the result of a larger and more sinister plot. According to the official explanation based on the Warren Commission's investigation, Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone when he shot Kennedy from the Texas School Book Depository in Dallas, Texas. However, many people believe that this conclusion is incomplete or part of a deliberate cover-up. Conspiracy theories began to surface almost immediately after the assassination. These doubts were fueled by conflicting eyewitness reports and by the shocking murder of Lee Harvey Oswald just 2 days later by nightclub owner Jack Ruby. Skeptics question how Oswald, a relatively unknown individual, could have planned and executed the assassination of such a high-profile figure entirely on his own. Some theorists argue that there were multiple gunmen involved, pointing to the grassy knoll as a possible second shooting location. Over time, numerous conspiracy theories have emerged, involving a wide range of individuals and organizations. These include the CIA, the FBI, the Soviet Union, and even Kennedy's own vice president, Lyndon B. Johnson. Many believe that the government concealed or destroyed crucial evidence, such as medical records and surveillance footage, in order to hide the true perpetrators and their motives. These alleged motives range from opposition to Kennedy's foreign policies to efforts aimed at preventing his re-election. Public suspicion increased further after the release of the Zapruder film in 1975, which showed Kennedy's head snapping backward after the fatal shots, leading many to question the official explanation. Later, in the late 1970s, the U.S. House Select Committee on Assassinations reopened the investigation and concluded that there was a probable conspiracy, even though it supported many of the Warren Commission's findings. The JFK assassination conspiracy theory remains one of the most intensely debated topics in modern history, with new theories continuing to emerge and capture public attention. The Illuminati conspiracy theory continues to persist and is based on the claim that a secret and powerful group known as the Illuminati controls global events and governments with the goal of establishing a so-called New World Order. According to believers, this hidden elite manipulates political, financial, and social systems in order to consolidate power, create global instability, and maintain total control over humanity. The theory often alleges that influential individuals such as politicians, celebrities, and business leaders are members of this shadowy organization. The origins of the Illuminati can be traced back to a real historical group founded in Bavaria in 1776 by Adam Weishaupt, a professor who aimed to promote Enlightenment ideals such as reason, secularism, and equality. However, this original Illuminati organization was disbanded by the late 1780s due to government repression. Despite its dissolution, the idea of a secret Illuminati society survived, particularly after it became linked with other secretive groups such as the Freemasons. The modern version of the Illuminati conspiracy theory began to gain traction during the 1960s and 1970s, fueled by countercultural movements and popularized through books such as the Illuminatus trilogy by Robert Anton Wilson and Robert Shea. In this satirical work, the Illuminati was portrayed as a global organization, blending fact and fiction in a way that captivated conspiracy theorists. Over time, the theory evolved to suggest that the Illuminati orchestrates wars, controls the global banking system, and manipulates cultural trends, including the entertainment industry and advancements in technology. The rise of the Internet during the 1990s and 2000s played a significant role in spreading the Illuminati theory further. Symbols such as the all-seeing eye and the pyramid, which appear on the US dollar bill, are frequently cited as supposed evidence of Illuminati influence. Additionally, various pop culture figures have been falsely accused of being members of the Illuminati, further reinforcing the theory's presence in modern discussions and popular culture. The Freemason conspiracy theory centers on the belief that Freemasonry, a fraternal organization with roots in medieval guilds, is a secretive and powerful group that manipulates world events and governments from behind the scenes. The origins of Freemasonry as a subject of conspiracy date back to the 18th century, when the organization became more visible and increasingly influential in Europe and America. Originally, Freemasonry functioned as a network of craftsmen and builders who emphasized moral teachings, personal development, and brotherhood. However, the organization's secret rituals, symbolic practices, and exclusive membership generated widespread suspicion. Anti-Masonic movements began to gain momentum in the late 18th and early 19th centuries, especially following the disappearance of William Morgan in 1826. Morgan had threatened to expose the secrets of Freemasonry, and his disappearance led to widespread fear and paranoia in the United States. During the 19th century, conspiracy theories surrounding Freemasons became even more prominent as anti-Masonic political parties emerged. These suspicions continued into the 20th century, when totalitarian regimes such as Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union targeted Freemasons, accusing them of being part of a global conspiracy aimed at domination. Freemason conspiracy theories often claim that members of the organization hold influential positions in governments, financial systems, and other powerful institutions. Symbols commonly associated with Freemasonry, including the square and compass, the all-seeing eye, and pyramid imagery, are frequently cited as supposed evidence of their hidden influence. Despite Freemasonry being a charitable organization focused on moral values and personal growth, the secrecy surrounding its meetings and rituals has allowed Freemason conspiracy theories to continue and thrive. The Area 51 conspiracy theory is based on the belief that the United States government is secretly hiding evidence of extraterrestrial life and advanced alien technology at a highly classified military facility in Nevada. Area 51, officially known as Groom Lake, is a remote site used by the U.S. Air Force for testing experimental aircraft and advanced weapons systems. However, conspiracy theorists claim that beyond military testing, Area 51 serves as a storage and research center for crashed UFOs, alien bodies, and secret extraterrestrial technology. The theory gained significant attention after the infamous Roswell incident in 1947, when a mysterious object crashed near Roswell, New Mexico. Although the U.S. military stated that the object was a weather balloon, many conspiracy theorists have long believed that it was actually a UFO, and that the wreckage and alien remains were secretly transported to Area 51 for examination. In the years that followed, the intense secrecy surrounding the facility further fueled speculation about what was truly taking place inside. In 1989, the theory gained renewed popularity when a man named Bob Lazar claimed that he had worked on reverse engineering alien spacecraft at a facility near Area 51. His accounts of advanced propulsion systems and extraterrestrial technology allegedly being studied by the government captured public attention and firmly established Area 51 as a central focus of UFO conspiracy culture. Area 51's secretive nature, restricted airspace, and heavily guarded perimeter have only added to the mystery. Reports of strange lights, unidentified flying objects, and unusual aircraft sightings in the surrounding area are often cited by believers as evidence of extraterrestrial technology. The theory continued to grow in popularity during the 1990s with the rise of the Internet and increased media coverage, including television shows such as The X-Files. Despite official explanations stating that Area 51 is used solely for advanced aviation testing, the mystery surrounding the facility continues to fascinate conspiracy theorists, many of whom believe that the government is concealing the truth about alien life. The chemtrails conspiracy theory claims that the white trails left behind by airplanes, commonly known as contrails, are not simply condensation but are actually chemical agents deliberately sprayed into the atmosphere by governments or other secretive organizations for hidden purposes. According to believers, these so-called chemtrails are part of covert programs involving activities such as weather modification, population control, or even biological warfare. Supporters of this theory believe that the substances released through chemtrails may include toxins, heavy metals, or other harmful chemicals intended to manipulate human health, behavior, or the environment. In contrast, contrails are scientifically understood as condensation trails that form when water vapor from aircraft exhaust freezes into ice crystals at high altitudes. These trails have been observed since the early days of aviation and are considered a normal atmospheric phenomenon. The chemtrails conspiracy theory began gaining traction in the mid-1990s, when people started noticing contrails that appeared to linger in the sky longer than usual and gradually spread into a thin haze. Conspiracy theorists interpreted this behavior as evidence of intentional chemical spraying rather than a natural process influenced by atmospheric conditions. The rise of the internet and social media played a major role in spreading the chemtrails theory, allowing images, videos, and claims to circulate widely. Some proponents also connected the theory to geoengineering efforts, suggesting that chemtrails are being used to combat climate change by reflecting sunlight away from the Earth, though allegedly in a harmful or unethical manner. Despite numerous scientific studies and expert explanations that have debunked the theory, clearly stating that contrails are a well-understood atmospheric phenomenon and that no evidence supports the presence of harmful chemicals, the chemtrails conspiracy theory continues to persist. It remains a focal point for individuals who are skeptical of government transparency, scientific consensus, and environmental policies, often overlapping with broader anti-government and anti-globalization beliefs. The Reptilian Elites conspiracy theory is based on the belief that a race of shape-shifting reptilian aliens, often referred to as reptoids, has infiltrated human society and secretly controls world governments, major corporations, and other powerful institutions. According to this theory, these reptilian beings are able to take on human form and have been manipulating global events for centuries in order to maintain dominance over humanity and ultimately establish a totalitarian world government. The theory was popularized during the 1990s by David Icke, a British writer and former sports broadcaster. He claimed that many world leaders and influential figures, including members of the British royal family, US presidents, and other global elites, are either reptilians themselves or are under the control of reptilian beings. Icke's work connects this conspiracy theory to ancient myths and legends involving serpent-like creatures, as well as to ideas about secret societies and the Illuminati, suggesting that reptilian elites are responsible for many of the world's major conflicts, financial crises, and social problems. Believers of the reptilian elites theory often claim that these beings feed on human fear and suffering, which is why they allegedly orchestrate wars, political instability, and large-scale disasters. Some supporters go even further, suggesting that reptilians are interdimensional entities with highly advanced technology and psychic abilities that allow them to manipulate human consciousness. Signs of reptilian presence are believed to appear in ancient texts, cultural symbols, and even in the physical or behavioral traits of certain individuals, such as perceived cold-bloodedness or unusual behavior. The conspiracy theory gained further momentum through the internet, particularly with the spread of videos showing public figures whose eyes appear to momentarily change or glitch. Despite being widely dismissed by scientists and skeptics as pure fantasy, the Reptilian Elites conspiracy theory continues to remain popular among those who believe in conspiracy narratives. The Big Pharma suppressing cures conspiracy theory claims that large pharmaceutical companies, often referred to as Big Pharma, deliberately suppress or withhold cures for major diseases such as cancer, AIDS, and diabetes in order to protect their profits from ongoing treatments and medications. According to this theory, instead of offering permanent cures, pharmaceutical companies prefer to provide expensive long-term treatments that generate continuous revenue. Supporters of this belief argue that cures either already exist or could be developed but are intentionally kept secret by pharmaceutical companies, governments, and regulatory agencies. They claim that the financial incentives for suppressing cures are enormous, as billions of dollars are earned each year from treating chronic illnesses. From this perspective, a one-time cure would be far less profitable than keeping patients dependent on lifelong medications that manage symptoms rather than completely eliminate diseases. Some conspiracy theorists go even further, alleging that researchers who discover potential cures are silenced, discredited, or pressured into abandoning their work. The theory gained popularity in the late 20th century, fueled by growing public distrust of large corporations and government institutions. High-profile controversies, including cases in which pharmaceutical companies were fined for unethical practices, have further intensified public suspicion. The rise of the Internet and social media has also played a significant role in spreading this theory, allowing supporters to share their ideas more widely. These discussions often highlight anecdotal accounts from alternative medicine practitioners who claim their treatments were suppressed by the medical establishment. Critics of the theory argue that there is no credible evidence to support the claim that cures are being deliberately hidden. They emphasize that scientific research is peer-reviewed and subject to public scrutiny, and that major medical breakthroughs, such as vaccines and new treatments, are openly published and widely shared. Despite this, the Big Pharma suppressing cures conspiracy theory continues to persist, often overlapping with broader skepticism about corporate power, government oversight, and the motives of the healthcare industry. The Jeffrey Epstein conspiracy theory centers on the belief that Epstein, a wealthy financier and convicted sex offender, was part of a vast and powerful network that included elite individuals involved in illegal activities such as child trafficking and sexual exploitation. Epstein was arrested in 2019 on federal charges related to sex trafficking minors, and his death in a New York jail, officially ruled a suicide, sparked widespread speculation that he was murdered to prevent him from revealing damaging information about his influential associates. The conspiracy theory gained significant traction due to the high-profile nature of Epstein's connections, which reportedly included politicians, business leaders, and members of royalty. Some of the prominent figures linked to Epstein include Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, Donald Trump, and others. Many theorists believe that Epstein possessed compromising information on these individuals, which allegedly led to his silencing. The sudden and controversial circumstances surrounding his death, including the failure of security cameras outside his cell and inconsistencies in the official investigation, fueled further suspicion. The theory gained widespread attention after Epstein's death on August 10, 2019, when the phrase, "Epstein didn't kill himself," began trending on social media. The conspiracy rapidly spread across online platforms, driven by viral posts and memes that questioned the official narrative. Various theories emerged, ranging from the involvement of powerful politicians to intelligence agencies allegedly covering up a large-scale blackmail operation. Over time, the Epstein case became a symbol of public distrust in institutions, reinforcing the belief that powerful individuals can operate above the law and avoid accountability. The lack of transparency regarding Epstein's wealth, criminal activities, and alleged accomplices has continued to sustain these conspiracy theories. Even after official investigations were closed, speculation persists about the true extent of Epstein's criminal network and the real cause of his death. The "vaccines cause autism" conspiracy theory claims that vaccines, particularly the MMR, measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, are linked to the development of autism in children. This theory originated from a now discredited study published in 1998 by British Dr. Andrew Wakefield, who suggested that there might be a connection between vaccination and autism. Despite numerous scientific studies clearly refuting this claim, the conspiracy theory has persisted and continues to influence public perceptions of vaccine safety. The theory gained widespread attention after Wakefield's study was heavily publicized, which sparked fear and concern among parents. Media coverage amplified the study's claims despite the lack of reliable evidence. In 2010, Wakefield was stripped of his medical license after investigations revealed that his research was fraudulent, ethically compromised, and funded by groups seeking to file lawsuits against vaccine manufacturers. His study involved a very small sample size, and no subsequent research has been able to validate his findings. Nevertheless, the damage had already been done. Anti-vaccine movements adopted and promoted the theory, and in some cases, high-profile celebrities helped spread the idea further, increasing its reach. Social media also played a significant role in the spread of the conspiracy, as online forums and groups created echo chambers where vaccine misinformation could thrive. The theory resonated with some parents who were searching for explanations for rising autism diagnosis rates, despite the fact that these increases are largely attributed to improved diagnostic practices and greater awareness. Vaccine hesitancy driven by this belief has led to outbreaks of preventable diseases, such as measles, particularly in communities with low vaccination rates. As a result, that vaccines cause autism conspiracy theory remains a serious public health concern. It undermines confidence in vaccines, which are among the most effective tools for preventing disease. Despite overwhelming scientific consensus that there is no link between vaccines and autism, the belief continues to influence vaccine hesitancy. The Pizzagate conspiracy theory emerged in 2016 and falsely claimed that a child trafficking ring involving high-profile politicians, including members of the Democratic Party, was being operated out of a Washington, D.C., pizzeria called Comet Ping Pong. The theory originated from hacked emails belonging to John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, which were released by WikiLeaks. Conspiracy theorists, particularly on online platforms such as forums and Reddit, misinterpreted and speculated about references to pizza and other food items mentioned in the emails. They claimed these references were coded language for pedophilia and human trafficking. The theory was heavily fueled by social media and was spread by individuals who opposed Hillary Clinton during the 2016 U.S. presidential election, including far-right figures such as Alex Jones. Pizzagate linked the Democratic Party, Hillary Clinton, and other elite individuals to an alleged underground pedophile ring, tapping into broader public fears and existing conspiracy narratives about corruption among powerful figures. Despite a complete lack of credible evidence, the theory spread rapidly through viral posts and online discussions, gaining widespread attention. The conspiracy reached a critical point in December 2016 when a man named Edgar Madison Welch drove from North Carolina to the Comet Ping Pong Pizzeria and fired a rifle inside the restaurant. He claimed he was attempting to rescue children whom he believed were being held captive there. No evidence of any criminal activity was found, and Welch was arrested. Although thoroughly debunked, the Pizzagate conspiracy theory played a significant role in shaping later conspiracy movements, such as QAnon, which similarly allege widespread elite corruption involving pedophilia. Pizzagate remains an important example of how disinformation can escalate into real-world violence and influence public belief, demonstrating the serious dangers posed by viral conspiracy theories in the digital age. The QAnon conspiracy theory is based on the belief that a group of global elites, including politicians, celebrities, and business leaders, is involved in child trafficking, satanic rituals, and other forms of widespread corruption. Central to this theory is the claim that former U.S. President Donald Trump was secretly working to dismantle this group and expose their alleged crimes. QAnon emerged in 2017 when an anonymous individual known as Q began posting cryptic messages, referred to as Q drops, on the online forum 4chan. Q claimed to be a high-ranking government insider with knowledge of a hidden battle between Trump and what followers call the deep state. These vague and coded messages encouraged followers to interpret and decode them, creating a sense of active participation in uncovering what they believed to be a hidden truth. The conspiracy theory quickly gained popularity online, particularly among far-right and anti-establishment communities. Followers believe in an event known as the Storm, a prophesied moment when Trump would allegedly arrest and expose members of the secretive elite network, leading to their downfall. Even after Trump left office, the theory continued to evolve, with believers adapting their narratives to explain changing political realities. QAnon's popularity surged during the COVID-19 pandemic, as lockdowns, uncertainty, and increased online activity fueled engagement with conspiracy theories. The movement also absorbed elements from earlier conspiracies, such as Pizzagate, amplifying fears about elite corruption and child exploitation. The theory has had real-world consequences, with some followers engaging in acts of violence. The most notable example was the January 6, 2021, U.S. Capitol insurrection, during which QAnon symbols and beliefs were prominently displayed. Although Q has stopped posting messages, the conspiracy theory continues to thrive within certain communities. Despite being repeatedly debunked by fact-checkers and experts, many followers remain committed to QAnon beliefs, often interpreting new global events as further evidence of the hidden war they believe is taking place. The COVID-19 hoax conspiracy theory is based on the belief that the global pandemic, which began in late 2019, was either exaggerated or completely fabricated by governments, the media, and powerful elites in order to control populations, restrict civil liberties, or advance hidden agendas. Some versions of the theory claim that the virus itself does not exist, while others argue that it is real but that its severity was deliberately overstated. Central to this conspiracy theory is the idea that lockdowns, mask mandates, and vaccines were tools of mass manipulation designed to create fear and enforce public compliance. Skeptics of the virus often pointed to inconsistencies in information, such as changing guidelines from health officials, as supposed evidence of a cover-up. The theories varied widely, with some claiming the pandemic was a plan to impose authoritarian control, while others suggested it was a strategy to introduce mass vaccination programs or digital tracking through microchips. Influential figures, including certain celebrities and political commentators, promoted these ideas, helping to amplify them across social media platforms. The conspiracy theory thrived in an environment of fear, confusion, and uncertainty surrounding the pandemic. In addition, the pandemic overlapped with existing anti-government and anti-vaccine movements, drawing in individuals who were already distrustful of institutions. COVID-19 hoax narratives have had dangerous real-world consequences, including widespread resistance to public health measures, increased vaccine hesitancy, and even acts of violence against health officials. Although the theory has been thoroughly debunked by experts and contradicted by overwhelming evidence demonstrating the virus's impact, it continues to persist among certain groups who view the pandemic as part of a broader scheme to strip away freedoms and impose control over society. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you learned something, make sure to leave a like and comment down below with your thoughts on any of the conspiracies discussed. Subscribe if you would like to see a part 2 or more videos like this. Thank you again, and goodbye.